I am Harper. Harper Sinclair. I'm 34 years old, and this is my story. The story of how a single piece of jewelry, smaller than a dime, unraveled everything I thought I knew about my life. Before I go any further, if you're enjoying this story, please consider hitting that like button, leaving a comment about where you're watching from, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications. Your support means the world and helps me keep sharing these stories. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. Back to when I still believed in fairy tales. I met Devin Sinclair at a charity gala in downtown Phoenix 7 years ago. I was 27, working as a junior architect at Morrison & Associates, a mid-sized firm that specialized in sustainable residential design. I'd saved for 3 months to afford the emerald green dress I wore that night. It wasn't designer, but it hugged my curves in all the right places, and when I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror, I felt beautiful. Genuinely beautiful, not just acceptable. The gala was one of those insufferably boring networking events where everyone smiled too hard and made promises they'd never keep. I was nursing my second glass of champagne, seriously considering sneaking out early, when I quite literally bumped into him. My champagne splashed onto his crisp white shirt, and I wanted to die right there on the spot. But Devin just laughed. God, that laugh. Deep, warm, genuine. Not the polite chuckle you give a stranger who's just ruined your $300 shirt. A real laugh. I'm so sorry, I stammered, grabbing napkins from a passing waiter and making everything worse by smearing the stain across his chest. Stop, he said, still smiling, catching my wrist gently. It's fine. Really? This shirt was boring anyway. I looked up at him, then really looked at him. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with dark brown skin that seemed to glow under the chandelier lights, close-cropped hair, and these impossibly warm brown eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. He wore a tailored navy suit that screamed money without being ostentatious, and he had this presence about him. Confident, but not arrogant. Comfortable in his own skin. I'm Devin, he said, extending his non-champagne-stained hand. Harper, I replied, shaking it, acutely aware that mine was probably clammy. Well, Harper, since you've already christened my shirt, how about you let me buy you another drink to replace the one you sacrificed? That was the beginning. We talked for 3 hours straight that night, tucked into a corner table while the gala went on without us. He told me he was a financial consultant specializing in portfolio diversification for high-net-worth clients. I pretended to understand what that meant. He seemed genuinely interested when I talked about my dream of designing affordable, eco-friendly housing for low-income communities. Most people's eyes glazed over when I got on that particular soapbox, but Devin leaned in closer, asked questions, challenged my assumptions in ways that made me think harder. By the time the gala ended, I was half in love. We dated for 18 months before he proposed. He took me to Sedona, to Cathedral Rock at sunset. The red rocks glowed like they were lit from within, and when he dropped to one knee, I couldn't breathe. The ring was perfect. A simple platinum band with a single emerald-cut diamond. Elegant and timeless. Like something out of a movie. Harper Sinclair, he said, and I loved how my name sounded in his voice. You make me want to be better. You see the world in ways I never did. You challenge me, inspire me, drive me absolutely crazy sometimes, and I can't imagine spending another day without you. Will you marry me? I said yes before he finished the question. We got married 6 months later in a small ceremony at the Desert Botanical Garden. Only close friends and family. My parents flew in from their retirement community in Florida. My older sister Jade came from Seattle with her husband and 2 kids. Devin's mother, Patricia, was there, elegant and composed in a champagne-colored dress, though his father had passed away 3 years earlier from a heart attack. And of course, my best friend Simone was there, radiant in her burgundy bridesmaid dress, crying happy tears and making embarrassing jokes during her maid of honor speech. Simone and I had been inseparable since college. We'd met freshman year at Arizona State, randomly assigned as roommates, and somehow it just clicked. She was the wild one, the adventurous one, always dragging me to parties I didn't want to attend and setting me up on blind dates with guys who were completely wrong for me. I was the stable one, the planner, The one who made sure she got to her 8 a.m. classes on time and didn't get arrested for skinny dipping in the campus fountain at 2 a.m. "You're stuck with me forever now," she told me the night before my wedding as we shared a bottle of wine in my apartment. "You realize that, right? Even when you're a boring married lady with boring married problems, I'll still be here, forcing you to have fun." "I'm counting on it," I'd said, clinking my glass against hers. And she was there, through everything. When Devin and I bought our first house, a charming craftsman bungalow in the Arcadia neighborhood with a huge backyard and a lemon tree that produced more fruit than we knew what to do with. When I got promoted to senior architect. When we spent 2 years trying to get pregnant and failing. When we finally decided to try IVF. Simone held my hand through the hormone injections that made me feel like I was losing my mind. She drove me to appointments when Devin had to work. She brought me ice cream and trashy reality TV when the first round failed. And when the second round worked, when I finally saw those 2 pink lines on the pregnancy test, she screamed so loud my neighbors probably called the police. "You're going to be the best mom," she said, hugging me so tight I could barely breathe. "This baby is so lucky." Logan Devin Sinclair was born on a Tuesday in September, 3 weeks early, but perfectly healthy. 7 pounds, 2 ounces, with a thick head of dark curly hair and lungs that could wake the dead. The moment they placed him in my arms, sticky and screaming and absolutely perfect, I felt my entire world shift. Everything before that moment seemed insignificant. This tiny human, with his impossibly small fingers and his scrunched-up face, was my entire universe. Devin cried when he held Logan for the first time. Actual tears streaming down his face. "He's perfect," he kept saying. "Harper, he's absolutely perfect." I took 6 months of maternity leave, the longest 6 months of my life. Beautiful and exhausting and terrifying all at once. Logan didn't sleep more than 2 hours at a stretch for the first 3 months. I walked around like a zombie, surviving on coffee and sheer will. But God, I loved it. Loved him. Loved watching Devin transform into a father, seeing this successful, polished businessman turn into a complete mess over a 7-pound baby. He'd come home from work and immediately scoop Logan up, bouncing him around the living room, making ridiculous faces to get him to smile. He changed diapers without complaint. He did 2 a.m. feedings so I could sleep. He was present in ways I hadn't expected, in ways my own father never was. "I didn't know it was possible to love something this much," he told me one night, Logan asleep on his chest while we watched some forgettable movie. "It actually hurts, you know? Like my heart is too full." I kissed his temple. "I know exactly what you mean." Simone was obsessed with Logan. She showed up at our house at least 3 times a week, always with some new toy or outfit she couldn't resist buying. She'd hold him for hours, cooing at him in baby talk, letting him grip her finger with his tiny fist. "Can I borrow him?" she'd joke. "Just for a weekend?" "I promise I'll give him back." "Absolutely not," I'd say, but I loved watching them together. Loved seeing this wild, carefree woman I'd known for over a decade transform into the world's most devoted auntie. When I went back to work, it nearly killed me. Leaving Logan with a nanny we'd hired felt like cutting off a limb. I cried in the car every morning for the first 2 weeks. But the bills needed to be paid, and Devin's income alone wasn't enough to cover the mortgage, the nanny, and the mountain of debt from the IVF treatments. I threw myself into work, started taking on bigger projects, landed a commission to design a community center for a nonprofit in South Phoenix, exactly the kind of work I dreamed about doing. The hours were brutal, but the work felt meaningful. I was building something that mattered, creating spaces where people could gather, where kids could learn and play safely, where communities could thrive. Devin seemed proud of me. He'd brag about my projects to his clients, show them photos on his phone. "My wife, the brilliant architect," he'd say, and I'd blush like a teenager. Life was good. Not perfect, because nothing ever is, but good. Really, genuinely good. Logan turned 1, then 2. He started walking, started talking, started developing this hilarious little personality. He loved dinosaurs and trucks, and his stuffed elephant named Mr. Wrinkles. He'd wake up every morning yelling, "Mama, Mama," and come running into our room, climbing into bed between Devin and me, his little body warm and solid and real. We celebrated his third birthday at our house with a dinosaur-themed party. Simone helped me decorate, hanging green and purple streamers everywhere, setting up a ball pit in the backyard, arranging 40 dinosaur-shaped cookies on tiered stands. She'd spend the entire previous day helping me bake them, both of us covered in flour and laughing like idiots. "You're way too good at this domestic goddess thing," she'd said, piping green frosting onto a T-Rex. "It's unnatural," says the woman who's piping frosting onto cookies at midnight. I'd shot back. "Hey, I'm doing this for my godson. He deserves the best dinosaur cookies in Phoenix." The party was perfect. 20 toddlers running around, high on sugar and chaos. Logan's face when he saw the giant T-Rex cake Simone and I had made was pure magic. Devin filmed everything on his phone, narrating like he was directing a nature documentary. And here we see the wild 3-year-old in his natural habitat, about to consume his body weight in cake. He intoned seriously, and Logan giggled so hard he got hiccups. That night, after everyone left and Logan was asleep, Devin and I collapsed on the couch. The house was a disaster. Streamers on the floor, abandoned toys everywhere, suspicious sticky patches on every surface. "We're not doing that again for at least a year," Devin said. "It's literally called a birthday party. It happens every year." "Okay, then we're hiring someone next time." I laughed, curling into his side. His arm came around me automatically, pulling me closer. We sat there in comfortable silence, too tired to move, too content to care about the mess. This was my life, my beautiful, chaotic, exhausting, perfect life. A husband who loved me, a son who was my entire world, a best friend who showed up for everything, meaningful work, a home we'd built together. I had everything I'd ever wanted, and I had no idea it was all built on lies. The day everything changed started like any other Tuesday. I got up at 6, made coffee, got Logan dressed, and fed while Devin showered. We moved around each other in our usual morning choreography, practiced and efficient. Devin kissed my forehead on his way out the door at 7:15. "Love you," he called back. "Love you too," I replied automatically, wiping cereal off Logan's face. I dropped Logan at preschool at 8, drove to the office, spent the morning in back-to-back meetings about the community center project. Everything normal. Everything fine. At noon, I realized I'd left my phone in Devin's car. We'd driven separately that morning because I had an early meeting, but we'd carpooled the night before to Simone's place for dinner, and I'd left my phone in his cup holder. Not unusual. We were always accidentally swapping phones, keys, sunglasses. I called him from my office line. "Hey, I left my phone in your car. Can you drop it off? I have a client call at 2, and I need it." "I'm in Scottsdale showing a property," he said. "Won't be back downtown until after 3. "Can it wait?" "Yeah, that's fine. I'll grab it after work." "Okay. Love you. Love you." I hung up and thought nothing of it. That evening, I drove to Devin's office building in the financial district. He worked on the 15th floor of a gleaming glass tower, all modern lines and expensive art. I parked in the visitor lot and called him again from the security desk.
"I'm downstairs."
"I'll just run up and grab my phone." No, I'll bring it down. I'm in a meeting." "Devin, I'm literally standing in the lobby. It'll take 2 seconds." A pause. "Harper," I said, "I'll bring it down." "Just wait there." Something in his tone made my stomach tighten, but I pushed it away. He was stressed. He'd been working long hours lately, coming home exhausted. I was being sensitive. He appeared 5 minutes later, slightly out of breath, my phone in his hand. "Here you go," he said, handing it over. "Sorry, I really can't talk right now. This meeting is crucial." "No problem. See you at home."
"Yeah."
"I'll grab dinner on the way. Don't wait up if I'm late." He kissed my cheek and was gone before I could respond. I sat in my car for a moment, phone in hand, that weird feeling still sitting heavy in my chest. Something felt off, but what? He was busy. He had an important meeting. He'd brought me my phone. Everything was fine. I drove home, picked up Logan from extended care, made him dinner, gave him a bath, read him 3 stories about dinosaurs, tucked him into bed. Devin's car finally pulled into the driveway at 9:30. I heard him drop his keys on the kitchen counter, heard the fridge open and close, heard his footsteps on the stairs. "Hey," he said, appearing in the bedroom doorway. He looked exhausted. Tie loosened, jacket slung over his arm, shadows under his eyes. "Long day?" I asked. "The longest. I'm going to shower and crash. Did you eat?" "Grab something at the office." He disappeared into the bathroom. I heard the water start, heard him moving around. Normal. Everything normal. Except something was nagging at me. That feeling from earlier, still there. A tiny splinter I couldn't quite locate. The next morning, Wednesday, I needed to drop my car at the mechanic. Check engine light had been on for a week. Devin offered to drop me off at work on his way. "Logan, buddy, let's go." I called up the stairs. "We're leaving in 5 minutes." "Coming, Mama." I grabbed my purse, my coffee, my portfolio. Devin was already warming up his car, an expensive black BMW sedan that he washed every Sunday without fail. I buckled Logan into his car seat in the back, then slid into the passenger seat. And that's when I saw it. On the floor mat, by my feet, partially hidden under the seat, a small silver earring. Delicate, with a tiny sapphire stone dangling from a thin chain. I picked it up, turning it over my palm. It was beautiful, expensive looking, and definitely not mine. "Devin?" I said, my voice sounding strange to my own ears. "Whose earring is this?" He glanced over, still backing out of the driveway. "What?" I held it up. "This earring. I found it on the floor. It's not mine." For just a second, maybe half a second, his expression flickered. Something I couldn't quite read. Then it was gone, replaced by casual confusion.
No idea.
"Maybe it was there when I bought the car?" "You've had this car for 3 years, Devin." "I don't know, Harper. Maybe a client dropped it?" I drive people around sometimes for showings. It was plausible. Totally plausible. Except something in my gut twisted. "It's probably Simone's," he added. "She was in the car Saturday night when we went to that restaurant, remember?" "Of course."
Simone.
We'd all gone to dinner together over the weekend. She'd ridden in the back with Logan while I drove Devin's car because mine was low on gas. That made perfect sense. The tight feeling in my chest loosened.
Oh.
"Yeah, you're right. I'll ask her about it." "Mystery solved," Devin said lightly, pulling onto the main road. But when I looked down at the earring again, sitting small and silver in my palm, that splinter feeling came back. Sharper this time. Because I'd seen Simone on Saturday night. I remembered exactly what she was wearing. A black sleeveless top, dark jeans, and her signature gold hoop earrings. Not silver. Never silver. Simone only wore gold. I sat there, the earring burning a hole in my palm, my mind racing. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe she'd changed earrings. Maybe I wasn't remembering correctly. But I was remembering correctly. I knew I was. I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram, scrolling back to Saturday night. Simone had posted a selfie from the restaurant. There she was, gorgeous as always, dark curls falling over one shoulder, bright smile, and clearly visible in the photo, gold hoop earrings. Not silver. The splinter became a knife. I looked at Devin. He was driving, eyes on the road, humming along to the radio like nothing was wrong. Like everything was normal. "Actually," I said carefully, "I'm pretty sure this isn't Simone's. She only wears gold." "Huh," Devin said. "Well, maybe it's from before." "Like I said, could have been there a while." "Right," I said. But my hand closed around the earring, and I slipped it into my jacket pocket. When Devin dropped me at work, I kissed him goodbye like always. Told him to have a good day like always. Waved as he drove away like always. Then I went up to my office, closed the door, pulled out the earring, and stared at it for a long time. It was probably nothing. Had to be nothing.
Devin loved me.
We had a good marriage. A beautiful son. A whole life together. But that knife feeling wouldn't go away. I did something I'd never done before. Something I felt guilty about even as I was doing it. I pulled out my phone and texted Simone. "Hey, random question. Did you lose an earring in Devin's car Saturday night?" Her response came fast.
No.
"Why?" "Found one on the floor. Thought it might be yours." "Definitely not mine." "You know I'm gold only, babe." "Maybe one of his clients." "Yeah, probably." "Thanks." I put my phone down, stared at the earring again. Maybe one of his clients. Maybe. But the knife twisted deeper. I tried to focus on work, pulled up the community center blueprints, reviewed material orders, responded to emails. But my mind kept drifting back. To the earring. To Devon's expression when I'd shown it to him. To the way he'd been so quick with explanations. At lunch, I did something else I'd never done. I logged into our joint bank account, the one we used for shared expenses. We each had our own accounts too, but the joint one was for mortgage, utilities, groceries, Logan's expenses. I scrolled through the transactions. Nothing unusual. Gas stations, grocery stores, the usual suspects. Then I went back further. 3 months. 6 months. And that's when I saw them. Hotel charges. Not frequent, but there. Once in November. Twice in January. Once in February. All to the same hotel. The Camino Real, a boutique place in Scottsdale. My hands started shaking. There could be explanations. Business meetings. Client showings. Perfectly innocent explanations. But he'd never mentioned staying at a hotel. Never mentioned overnight work trips. And Scottsdale wasn't that far. Why would he need a hotel room there? The knife became a sword. I closed my laptop before I could do something crazy like drive to the hotel and demand answers. I was being paranoid. Ridiculous.
Devon loved me.
He wouldn't. He couldn't. But that earring sat in my pocket like a live coal. That night, I watched him carefully. The way he kissed my forehead when he got home. The way he played with Logan before bed, making him laugh with tickle fights and silly voices. The way he asked about my day while we ate leftover pasta at the kitchen island. Everything normal. Everything fine. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something. Something huge. Something hiding in plain sight. After Devon fell asleep, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, the earring now in my nightstand drawer, and wondered what the hell I was going to do. Because deep in my gut, in that place where you know things you don't want to know, I already knew the truth. I just wasn't ready to face it yet. The next day, Thursday, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. Devon's side of the bed was already empty, which wasn't unusual. He often left early for morning meetings. I could hear the shower running, hear him moving around in the bathroom with the efficiency of someone who'd done the same routine 10,000 times. I got up, pulled on my robe, went downstairs. Made coffee. Started breakfast for Logan, who would be up any minute demanding pancakes and cartoons. My phone sat on the kitchen counter where I'd left it charging overnight. I picked it up, scrolled through my notifications. Work emails. A text from Jade asking about Thanksgiving plans. A reminder about Logan's dentist appointment next week. And a text from Simone, sent at 11:47 p.m. last night. You okay? That earring thing seemed weird. Call me if you need to talk. I stared at the message. Should I call her? Tell her about the hotel charges? Ask her if she'd noticed anything strange about Devon lately? But what would I even say? Hey, I found an earring in my husband's car, and now I'm convinced he's cheating on me based on zero actual evidence. I sounded insane, even in my own head. Morning, beautiful. I jumped, nearly dropping my phone. Devon stood in the doorway, freshly showered, wearing one of his perfect suits. Navy today, with a crisp white shirt and a burgundy tie. He looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine ad for successful men who definitely weren't cheating on their wives. Morning, I managed, sliding my phone into my robe pocket. He crossed to the coffee maker, poured himself a cup, added exactly 1 sugar, and a splash of cream. I'd watched him do this routine for 7 years. Every movement familiar, predictable, safe. Big day today, he said. Meeting with a potential new client. High net worth individual looking to diversify into commercial real estate. That's great, I said, and it came out hollow. He looked at me, really looked at me, and for a second I thought he was going to say something. Ask if I was okay. Noticed that something was wrong. But then Logan's voice erupted from upstairs.
Nana, I'm hungry.
Devon smiled. I'll get him. You finish your coffee. He disappeared upstairs, and I stood there in our beautiful kitchen in our beautiful house, listening to my husband's voice mixing with my son's laughter, and felt more alone than I'd ever felt in my life. That afternoon, I left work early. Told my boss I had a migraine, which wasn't entirely a lie. The tension headache that had been building since yesterday had evolved into a full-blown assault on my temples. But instead of going home, I drove to Scottsdale, to the Camino Real. It was a boutique hotel, the kind with exposed brick and Edison bulbs and a rooftop bar that probably served $15 cocktails. Trendy. Expensive. Not the kind of place you'd book for a quick business meeting. I parked across the street and just sat there, staring at the entrance. What was I doing? Was I really going to walk in there and do what? Ask if my husband had been there? Demand to see security footage? I felt ridiculous. Paranoid. Like I was turning into one of those crazy wives in movies who stalked their husbands based on nothing. But it wasn't nothing. The earring was real. The hotel charges were real. The weird feeling in my gut was real. I pulled out my phone and opened our bank account again. Found the most recent charge. February 14th. Valentine's Day. My heart stopped. February 14th. Valentine's Day. The day Devin had told me he had to work late. Emergency meeting with a client whose portfolio had tanked. He'd apologized profusely, promised to make it up to me that weekend. Sent me flowers to the office with a card that said, "Rain check on romance. Love you always." And I'd understood, because that's what supportive wives do. They understand, but he hadn't been in an emergency meeting. He'd been here, at the Camino Real, with someone. The pieces were falling into place now, each one landing with sickening clarity. All those late nights, all those weekend property showings, all those business trips to Scottsdale, which was literally 40 minutes away. I'd believed every single one. I sat in my car outside that hotel for 20 minutes, breathing through my nose, trying not to hyperventilate. Then I drove home, picked up Logan from preschool, made him dinner, gave him a bath, read him stories, tucked him in. Normal. Everything normal. When Devin got home at 8, I was sitting on the couch with a glass of wine, staring at nothing. "Hey," he said, loosening his tie. "You okay? You look pale." "Migraine," I said. "It was bad today." "Poor baby." He sat down next to me, pulled me against his side. I let him, because what else was I supposed to do? My body went through the motions while my mind screamed. His hand stroked my hair. "Did you take something for it?"
Yeah.
"Good. Just rest." We sat there in silence.
His arm around me.
My head on his shoulder. The TV playing some show neither of us was watching. And all I could think was, who is she? Who is the woman who owned that earring? Who is the woman he'd taken to that hotel on Valentine's Day while I sat at home believing his lies? Was it someone I knew? Someone from his work? A client? Or worse? So much worse. Was it someone I trusted? The thought hit me like ice water.
Simone. No.
No, that was insane. Simone was my best friend. My sister, in every way that mattered. She'd been there for everything.
She loved me.
She loved Logan. But a traitorous voice in my head whispered, she also loved Devin. Not like that. Not in a romantic way. But she adored him. Thought he was perfect for me. Told me all the time how lucky I was to have found him. And she was beautiful. Objectively, stunningly beautiful. The kind of beautiful that made people do double takes. Long dark curls, warm brown skin, curves in all the right places, and this infectious energy that drew people to her like moths to a flame. Devin had always been friendly with her. Maybe too friendly? I tried to remember. Tried to think of times I'd seen them together. The way he hugged her when she came over. The way they joked around. The way she'd sit next to him at dinner parties, their heads bent together, laughing at some private joke. Had I missed something? Had I been so trusting, so naive, that I'd let my husband and my best friend carry on right under my nose?
No.
I was spiraling. This was crazy. Simone would never. But then why did I feel sick? Harper. Devin's voice pulled me back. "You're shaking." I was. My whole body trembling against his.
Sorry, I said.
"The migraine. It's making me nauseous." "Go to bed," he said gently. "I'll clean up the kitchen." I nodded and stood up on unsteady legs. Made it to our bedroom. Closed the door. And then I did something I swore I'd never do. I picked up Devin's laptop from his desk. The one he used for work, the one that was always password protected. Except it wasn't. He'd left it open. Unlocked. Just sitting there. My hands shook as I moved the mouse, waking up the screen. His email was open. Outlook, with dozens of unread messages in his inbox. I shouldn't. I knew I shouldn't, but I clicked on his sent folder. Scrolled down.
Down. Down.
Looking for what I didn't know. Evidence? Proof? Something to either confirm or deny the nightmare taking shape in my head. And then I found it. An email thread between Devin and someone saved in his contacts as S. Just S. The most recent email was from 3 days ago. Tuesday works. Same place. 2 p.m.? Missing you. Devin's response. Can't wait. I'll bring lunch. I felt the room tilt. Scrolled up. Read more. Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. When can I see you again? This week is killing me. I know we have to be careful, but God, I hate hiding this. The emails went back months.
Dozens of them. Hundreds maybe.
Sweet messages. Sexual messages. Messages that made it crystal clear this wasn't some random affair. This was a relationship, and they were all signed the same way. Love you always, S.
S.
My vision went dark around the edges.
No.
Please no. I scrolled faster, desperate now, looking for something, anything, that would tell me who S was. And then I found it. An email from 6 months ago, with an attachment. A photo. I clicked on it with trembling fingers. And there she was.
Simone.
My best friend Simone. In a hotel room. Devin's arms around her. Both of them smiling at the camera like they didn't have a care in the world. Like they weren't destroying my entire life. The laptop slipped from my hands and hit the floor with a crack. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. I don't remember how long I stayed on that bathroom floor. Time stopped meaning anything. I just sat there, back against the cold tile, arms wrapped around my knees, staring at nothing. The laptop was still on the bedroom floor where I dropped it. The screen had gone dark, but I could still see that photo burned into my retinas. Devin and Simone. Smiling. Happy. In love. How long had it been going on? The emails went back at least 6 months, but when had it really started? A year ago? 2 years? Had it been happening the whole time? While I was pregnant. While I was struggling through those brutal IVF treatments, pumping my body full of hormones that made me feel insane. While I was up at 3 a.m. with a screaming newborn, so exhausted I could barely remember my own name. Had they been laughing at me? Pitying me? Poor, stupid Harper who never suspected a thing. I heard Devin's footsteps on the stairs. Heard him pause outside the bathroom door. Harper? You okay in there? I couldn't answer. Couldn't make my voice work. Baby?
Talk to me.
The doorknob turned. I'd forgotten to lock it. Devin pushed the door open and found me there on the floor. His expression shifted immediately to concern. That practiced, perfect concern that I believed was real for 7 years.
Jesus, Harper.
He crouched down beside me, reaching for me. What's wrong? Is it the migraine? Should I take you to the ER? I flinched away from his touch.
Couldn't help it.
The thought of his hands on me, the same hands that had touched her, made my skin crawl. He noticed. Of course he noticed. Harper, you're scaring me. What's going on? I looked at him then. Really looked at him. Tried to see the man I'd married. The man I'd loved. The man I'd built a whole life with. But all I could see was a stranger. A liar. A cheater. Your laptop, I said. My voice came out flat, dead. It's on the floor. The screen's probably cracked. His eyes went to the bedroom, to the laptop lying face down on the hardwood. For just a second, maybe half a second, I saw it. Panic. Raw, undisguised panic. Then it was gone, replaced by confusion. Okay? Why was it on the floor? I dropped it. Why did you have my laptop?
It was open, I said.
Unlocked. I was curious what you were working on. I watched him process this. Watched him trying to figure out what I'd seen, how much I knew. Watched him calculating his next move. And? He asked carefully. And I read your emails. All the color drained from his face. We stared at each other for a long moment. The air between us felt thick, suffocating. Every second stretched into an eternity. Harper, he started. Don't. I held up a hand. Don't you dare say my name like that. Don't you dare try to explain this away. I can explain. I laughed. It came out harsh, bitter, nothing like my real laugh. Can you? Can you explain the emails? The hotel receipts? The photo of you and my best friend in bed together? It's not what you think. Really? Because I think my husband has been fucking my best friend for at least 6 months, possibly longer. I think you've been lying to me for God knows how long. I think every single business trip and late meeting and property showing has been a lie. So please, Devin, tell me what it is if it's not that. He sat back on his heels, his hands running through his hair. A gesture I'd seen him do 1,000 times when he was stressed. Except now I wondered how many of those times he'd been stressed because of me, because of her, because of maintaining the lie. How long? I asked. How long has this been going on? Harper, please. How long? My voice came out as a scream. Somewhere in the house, Logan started crying. The sound cut through me like a knife. My baby scared because Mommy was yelling. Devin stood up. I'll get him. Don't you dare. I scrambled to my feet, dizzy, my head pounding. Don't you touch my son. He's my son too. Is he? The words came out before I could stop them. Is he really, Devin? Because according to what you told me, there's apparently a paternity test that says otherwise. His face went white. What? The hook? I said. The messages I found.
You told her about the paternity test.
You told her Logan isn't yours. I never said that. Then what did you say? Because I'm pretty sure I read it correctly. Devin's jaw clenched. You're twisting things. You don't understand the context. Then give me the context. I was screaming again. Logan's crying got louder. Explain to me how any context makes this okay. Logan's voice from his room, terrified. I pushed past Devin, ran down the hall to Logan's room. He was standing in his crib, tears streaming down his face, arms reaching for me. It's okay, baby, I said, lifting him up. He was so big now, almost too heavy to hold comfortably, but I clutched him tight anyway. Mama's here. Everything's okay. Scary, he sobbed into my shoulder. Loud. I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. Devin appeared in the doorway. Logan saw him and reached out.
Dada.
I felt something inside me shatter all over again. Because despite everything, despite all the lies and betrayal, Logan loved his father, trusted him completely, had no idea his whole world was about to fall apart. Come here, buddy, Devin said softly, taking Logan from my arms. Logan immediately calmed, snuggling into Devin's chest. It's okay. Mama and Dada just had a disagreement. Everything's fine. Everything was not fine. Nothing would ever be fine again. I watched Devin rock Logan, watched him whisper soothing words, watched him be the perfect father he'd always been. And I wanted to scream at the unfairness of it all, that he could be so good at this, so loving and present with our son, while simultaneously destroying our family. Let me put him back down, Devin said quietly. Then we'll talk. I nodded, because what else could I do? I couldn't have this conversation with Logan in the room. Couldn't let him see his mother falling apart. I went back to our bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, picked up the laptop from the floor. The screen was indeed cracked, a spiderweb of lines radiating from the corner. But it still worked. I could still see the email, still see that photo. Simone and Devin. Devin and Simone. My husband and my best friend. I tried to remember when it might have started. Tried to pinpoint the moment everything went wrong. But there was no single moment. Just 1,000 tiny moments that I'd missed, ignored, explained away. The way Simone always texted Devin directly instead of going through me. The way they'd share inside jokes I wasn't part of. The way she'd touch his arm when she laughed. The way he'd light up when she walked into a room. I'd thought it was nice. Sweet even. That my husband and my best friend got along so well. That we were all so close, such a perfect little trio. I'd been so fucking naive. Devin came back into the room, closing the door softly behind him. He stood there, hands in his pockets, looking more uncertain than I'd ever seen him. Logan's asleep, he said. Good.
Harper, I'm sorry.
Sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? He flinched. Both. Neither. I don't know. That's not good enough. I know. He moved closer, sat in the armchair across from the bed, keeping his distance. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. Is still happening, apparently, since your last email to her was 3 days ago. It's complicated. It really isn't. You're either fucking my best friend, or you're not. There's nothing complicated about it. I love you, he said, and he had the audacity to sound sincere. I love you and Logan more than anything. Just not enough to stop sleeping with Simone. He was quiet. When did it start? I asked again. I want the truth, Devin. You owe me that much. He took a deep breath. 1.5 years ago. Logan's 2nd birthday. I felt the air leave my lungs. 1.5 years, not 6 months. 1.5 years. The party, I whispered. You helped her clean up after everyone left. Harper. I went to bed early because I was exhausted. You stayed downstairs with her. Told me you were just being polite, helping her wash dishes. I laughed bitterly. What really happened? Nothing happened that night, but that's when it started. When we realized there was something there. Something there? What the fuck does that mean? We were talking, he said. Really talking for the first time in a long time. About life, about feeling stuck, about whether we were living the lives we actually wanted or just the lives we thought we should want. And that led to what? A passionate kiss over the dirty dishes?
No.
It led to us talking more. Meeting for coffee, sometimes. As friends. Friends don't end up in hotel rooms together, Devin. I know. It got out of hand. We didn't mean for it to become what it became. When was the first time? I needed to know. Needed to understand the full scope of the betrayal. When did you first sleep with her? Does it matter?
Yes.
It fucking matters. He looked down at his hands. 6 months ago. After that conference in Scottsdale I told you about. The one you invited her to. Because she was interested in real estate investing. Yes. I remembered that weekend. I'd stayed home with Logan, who had a cold. Devin had called me every night, told me about the boring panels and networking events. Told me he missed me. He'd been with her the whole time. And you've been meeting at the Camino Real ever since. Not always. Sometimes we just talked. Oh, well, that makes it so much better. You were only emotionally cheating on me some of the time. Harper, please. Does she love you? The question seemed to catch him off guard.
What? Simone.
Does she love you? Is this just sex for her? Or is it more? He hesitated too long. She does, I said, reading his face. She's in love with you. And you're in love with her. It's not that simple. Stop saying that. Stop acting like this is some complex moral quandary. You fell in love with another woman. My best friend. You've been lying to me for 1.5 years. You've been building a whole separate relationship while pretending to be a devoted husband. It's actually incredibly simple. I do love you, he insisted. That's what makes it complicated. I love you both. I stared at him. You can't love us both, Devin. That's not how love works. Why not? Why does it have to be all or nothing? Because that's what marriage means. You don't get to have both. You don't get to keep your devoted wife at home raising your child while you fuck around with her best friend on the side. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did. You are. Every single day you kept this going, you hurt me. I looked down at the laptop still in my hands. At that photo. What about Logan? What about the paternity test? Devin's whole body went rigid. Where did you see that? In one of the emails. You told her there was a paternity test that proved Logan wasn't yours. That's not what I said. Then what did you say? He stood up, paced to the window. Stared out at our backyard, at the playset we'd installed for Logan's 3rd birthday. The one Devin had spent an entire weekend building, insisting he wanted to do it himself so it would be perfect. Simone wanted to know if I was sure Logan was mine, he said finally. She said if there was any doubt, I should get a test done before we moved forward. My blood ran cold. Moved forward? Moved forward with what? He didn't answer.
Devin.
Moved forward with what? She wants me to leave you, he said quietly. She's been asking me to leave for months. She says we can't keep living a lie, that it's not fair to anyone. That we should be together, openly. And what did you say? I said I couldn't. That I have responsibilities. That Logan needs his father. How noble of you. I'm trying to do the right thing here, Harper. The right thing. I stood up, the laptop falling onto the bed. The right thing would have been not to fuck my best friend in the first place. The right thing would have been to come to me if you were unhappy instead of going to her. The right thing would have been to think about your son before you decided to blow up his entire world. I know. You're right. I know. Did you get the test?
I asked.
The paternity test?
No.
Why not? Because he's mine. I know he is. How can you be sure? Because I was there. Because I remember exactly when he was conceived. We'd been trying for so long, and then finally it worked. He's mine, Harper. I never doubted it. But Simone did. Simone was being cautious. Cautious? She wanted you to make sure you weren't raising another man's child before you left me for her. That's not caution, Devin. That's calculation. He didn't deny it. I felt something shift inside me. Some fundamental change in how I saw everything. Simone wasn't just the other woman. She wasn't just my best friend who'd betrayed me. She was actively trying to destroy my marriage, to take my husband, to question whether my son was even his father's child. This wasn't just about an affair. This was about her trying to replace me entirely. I need you to leave, I said. Harper, get out, pack a bag, and get out of this house. Tonight. Where am I supposed to go? The audacity of the question made me want to laugh. I don't know, Devin. Maybe go stay with Simone. I'm sure she'd love to finally have you all to herself. I'm not leaving Logan. You don't get to decide that right now. You forfeited your right to make decisions about this family when you started sleeping with my best friend. Legally. I cut him off. I'm pretty sure a divorce court would love to hear about your extramarital affair. So, unless you want this to get really ugly really fast, I suggest you pack your shit and leave. We stared at each other. 7 years of marriage, 7 years of love and trust and partnership, all of it crumbling to dust between us. I'll go to a hotel, he said finally. But this isn't over. We need to talk about this properly. Figure out what comes next. What comes next is you leave. Everything else, we'll figure out with lawyers. Harper, please. Don't do this. Don't throw away 7 years because of one mistake. One mistake? Devin, you've been having an affair for 1.5 years. You've been lying to me every single day. You've been planning a future with another woman. That's not one mistake. That's 1,000 mistakes, made over and over, every time you chose her over me. He opened his mouth, closed it again. There was nothing left to say. I watched him pack a bag. Watched him gather his toiletries, his suits, his shoes. Watched him move through our bedroom like a ghost, touching nothing that wasn't his, careful not to meet my eyes. When he was done, he stood in the doorway with his bag in hand. Can I say goodbye to Logan? He's asleep. Harper. Go, Devin. Just go. He hesitated, like he was going to argue, to fight for the right to wake up our son, and try to explain something that couldn't be explained. But then he just nodded and walked out. I heard his footsteps on the stairs. Heard the front door open and close. Heard his car start in the driveway. Heard him pull away. And then there was just silence. I went to Logan's room. Stood in the doorway watching him sleep. He was on his back, arms flung over his head, mouth slightly open. Mr. Wrinkles clutched under one arm. He looked so peaceful. So innocent. So completely unaware that his world had just shattered. How was I going to tell him? How do you explain to a 3-year-old that Daddy isn't coming home? That Auntie Simone isn't going to be coming around anymore? That everything he thought was safe and stable was actually built on lies? I couldn't do it. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I went back to my bedroom and grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely type. The message to Simone was short. I know everything. Don't ever contact me again. Then I blocked her number. Blocked her on every social media platform. Deleted every photo of her from my phone, from my cloud storage. Erased her from my digital life like she'd never existed. It wasn't enough. Would never be enough. But it was a start. My phone rang almost immediately. Unknown number. Probably her, calling from someone else's phone. I turned it off completely. Then, I did something I hadn't done since college. I went to the kitchen, found the bottle of whiskey we kept for guests, and poured myself a large glass. I sat at the kitchen island, in the dark and drank it. Then poured another.
And another.
The alcohol didn't help, didn't numb the pain, or make anything make sense. It just made everything fuzzy around the edges, while the core of it stayed sharp and cutting. By the time the sun started to rise, I was drunk and empty and more alone than I'd ever been. My phone buzzed from where I'd left it on the counter. I'd turned it back on at some point, though I didn't remember doing it. 17 missed calls. 12 from Simone's number, even though I'd blocked it. 5 from Devin. 23 unread texts. I deleted them all without reading them. There was also a text from Jade, my sister. Sent at 3 a.m. her time. Mom called. Said she's been trying to reach you. Everything okay? I typed back. Devin's having an affair. With Simone. I found out tonight.
I don't want to talk about it yet.
I'll call you later. The response came immediately despite the time. Oh my God. Harper. I'm so sorry. Do you need me to come there?
Not yet.
I need to figure some things out first. Okay. But I'm here whenever you need me. Day or night. I love you. Love you too. I put the phone down and stared at the empty glass in front of me. Considered pouring another drink, decided against it. I was already going to feel like death when the hangover hit, no need to make it worse. Instead, I opened my laptop. Devin's laptop, technically, though I doubted he'd want it back now with its cracked screen and all its incriminating evidence. I went back to his email. Started reading through all of it systematically. Every message between him and Simone, going back as far as they went. I needed to understand. Needed to see the whole picture. Needed to know every detail of how my marriage had died and my best friendship had been a lie. The early emails were innocent enough. Thanks for helping clean up after the party. Coffee was nice. We should do it again. Thinking about our conversation. Then they got more personal. More intimate. I can't stop thinking about you. This feels dangerous, but I can't stay away. Tell me I'm not crazy for feeling this way. Then came the shift. I need to see you alone. The hotel was perfect. Wish we didn't have to leave. Every moment with Harper feels like a lie now. That one gutted me. Every moment with Harper feels like a lie. How long had he felt that way? How long had he been coming home to me, kissing me, making love to me, raising our son with me, all while feeling like it was a lie? The most recent emails were the worst. Because they weren't just about sex or stolen moments. They were about a future. Their future. Simone, we can't keep doing this. It's killing me, seeing you with her, pretending to be her friend. I want to be with you for real. Wake up next to you. Build a life together. Devin, I know. I want that too. But Logan, Simone, Logan would adjust. Kids are resilient. And I love him too, you know that. I'd be good to him. We could be a family. Devin, are you asking me to leave Harper? Simone, I'm asking you to choose. Choose me, choose us, choose the life we both know we want. Or choose to keep living this half-life where neither of us gets what we really need. Devin, that's not fair. Simone, none of this is fair. But we didn't ask for this. We fell in love. That's not a crime. Devin, it kind of is when you're married to her best friend. Simone, then get unmarried. File for divorce. Be honest with her for once. She deserves that much at least. Devin, I can't. Not yet. The timing isn't right. Simone, when will the timing be right? When Logan's 5, 10, 18? There's never going to be a perfect time, Devin. You just have to decide what you want more. I closed the laptop. I'd seen enough. They were planning a future together. Simone wanted him to leave me. Wanted to play stepmom to my son. Wanted to just slide into my life and take over like I was an inconvenient obstacle to be removed. And Devin was considering it. Maybe hadn't fully committed yet, but he was considering it. The sky outside was fully light now. Morning. A new day. Logan would be waking up soon. Asking for data. Asking for breakfast. Asking why Mama's eyes were red and why she smelled like whiskey. I needed to pull myself together. Needed to be strong for him. But first I needed to make a plan. Because Simone and Devin might have been planning their future, but I was going to make damn sure it didn't happen the way they wanted. I pulled out a notebook from the kitchen drawer. Started making a list. Lawyer, find the best divorce attorney in Phoenix. Document everything. Save all emails, texts, bank records. Change passwords. Lock Devin out of all shared accounts. Protect Logan. Figure out custody arrangement that prioritizes his well-being. Tell the truth. Family, friends, everyone needs to know what they did. And at the bottom, in capital letters, make them pay. Not through violence. Not through some dramatic public confrontation, but through exposure, through consequences, through making sure everyone knew exactly what kind of people they were. Devin wanted to protect his reputation. His business was built on trust, on being the reliable family man who gave sound financial advice. Simone wanted to maintain her image as the free-spirited, loyal friend everyone loved. I was going to take both of those things away from them, but carefully, methodically, with the same precision I used to design buildings. Because the best revenge isn't hot and immediate. It's cold and calculated and devastating. And I had time. All the time in the world. I heard Logan's voice from upstairs.
Mama, I'm awake.
I closed the notebook, hid it in a drawer, and put on my best smile. Coming, baby, I called back. The performance was just beginning. The first thing I did Monday morning, after dropping Logan at preschool with a smile that felt like it was cracking my face in half, was call the best divorce attorney in Phoenix. Catherine Wu had a reputation. Brilliant, ruthless, expensive as hell. She'd handled some of the messiest divorces in Arizona, always came out on top, and reportedly had made grown men cry on the witness stand.
Perfect.
Her receptionist tried to put me off. Ms. Wu is booked solid for the next 3 weeks. I can schedule a consultation for her. Tell her it's an infidelity case. I interrupted. High net worth husband, affair with the wife's best friend, possible fraud, and I have documented evidence of everything. There was a pause. Hold, please. 2 minutes later, I had an appointment for that afternoon. I spent the morning at work trying to pretend everything was normal. Reviewed blueprints. Responded to emails. Sat through a meeting about budget overruns on the community center project. My boss asked if I was feeling okay. I said I was fighting off a cold. The lies came so easily now. I understood how Devin had done it for so long. At 1 o'clock, I left the office and drove to Catherine Wu's firm in downtown Phoenix. The building was all glass and steel, the kind of place that screamed money and power. The reception area had original artwork on the walls and furniture that probably cost more than my car. Catherine Wu was exactly what I expected. Mid-50s, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, sharp eyes that seemed to see right through me. She shook my hand with a grip like iron. Mrs. Sinclair, please sit. Her office was enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. She sat behind a massive desk and folded her hands, waiting. I took a breath and told her everything. The earring, the emails, the hotel receipts, the affair with Simone, Devin's admission that it had been going on for a year and a half. I showed her screenshots I'd taken of the emails, the bank statements, everything. She listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes on a legal pad. When I finished, she sat back in her chair. You have an excellent case. Infidelity, documented evidence, clear pattern of deception. Arizona is a no-fault divorce state, but this kind of evidence still matters for custody and asset division. I want full custody of Logan, I said. Devin can have visitation, but I want primary custody. That's reasonable. Given his infidelity and the instability of his current situation, a judge would likely rule in your favor. I also want the house. And I want him to pay child support based on his full income, not whatever he tries to hide. Catherine smiled slightly. We'll conduct full financial discovery. If he's been hiding assets or income, we'll find it. What about spousal support? I don't want his money. I just want Logan protected, and I want out of this marriage. Understood. Now, I have to ask. Your best friend, Simone. Are you planning to take any legal action against her? I hadn't considered it. Can I? Technically, you could file an alienation of affection lawsuit. Arizona doesn't recognize it, but if she interfered with your marriage in demonstrable ways, made false statements, encouraged your husband to hide assets, there might be avenues. But honestly, it's usually more trouble than it's worth. I don't want to sue her, I said. I just want her out of my life. Fair enough. Let's focus on the divorce then. I'll draft the initial paperwork. You'll need to formally serve Devin. Do you know where he's staying? A hotel, I think. I can get the address.
Good.
We'll serve him there. Now, about communication going forward. Do not, under any circumstances, discuss this case with your husband without me present. Don't text him about it. Don't email him about it. All communication goes through me. Understood? Yes. And document everything. Every time he sees Logan, every conversation, every expense. Keep a detailed log. It all matters. I nodded, making mental notes. One more thing, Catherine said. How are you holding up? Personally? The question caught me off guard.
I'm Manjan.
This is going to get ugly. He's going to fight. They always do. And when people fight, they say horrible things. They make accusations. They try to paint you as the bad guy. Are you prepared for that? I don't have a choice. You always have a choice, Mrs. Sinclair. You can choose to be a victim, or you can choose to be a survivor. I've seen both. The survivors are the ones who come out of this intact. I met her eyes. I'm a survivor.
Good.
Then let's get to work. I left her office 2 hours later with a retainer agreement signed and a plan in place. The divorce papers would be ready by Friday. Devin would be served next week. The machinery of legal dissolution was in motion. It felt both terrifying and empowering. That evening, after I put Logan to bed, I did something I'd been putting off. I called my parents. My mother answered on the second ring. Harper. Sweetheart, I've been trying to reach you. Is everything okay? I could hear the concern in her voice. She knew. Somehow, she already knew something was wrong. Mom, I said, and my voice broke. Just saying that word, hearing her voice, made all the composure I'd been maintaining crumble. What happened? Harper, talk to me. It's Devin. He's been having an affair. With Simone. The silence on the other end was deafening. Mom, I'm here. Her voice was cold, clipped. How long? 1.5 years. Maybe longer. That son of a bitch. I never heard my mother curse before. Not once in my entire life. Where is he now? I kicked him out. He's staying at a hotel. Good. He should be on the street. Does Jade know? I texted her. But I haven't talked to her yet. Your father and I are coming to Phoenix. Mom, you don't have to. We're coming. We'll be there tomorrow. I'm booking flights as soon as we hang up. Mom, Harper Elizabeth Sinclair, you are my daughter. You are hurting. Do you really think I'm going to sit in Florida while you go through this alone? Tears were streaming down my face now. Thank you. Don't thank me. That's what mothers do. Now, do you have a lawyer?
Yes.
Catherine Wu. I know that name. She's supposed to be excellent.
Good.
Let her tear him apart. We talked for another 30 minutes. She asked about Logan, about how I was really doing, about whether I needed money. I assured her I was fine financially, at least for now. When we hung up, I felt simultaneously better and worse. Better because I wasn't alone. Worse because telling my mother made it real in a way it hadn't been before. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Harper, please. We need to talk. This isn't what you think.
S. Simone.
She'd gotten a new number to get around the block. I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to respond, wanted to unleash everything I was feeling. But Catherine's words echoed in my head. Document everything. Don't engage. I took a screenshot of the text, saved it to a folder labeled Evidence, and blocked the new number. 2 minutes later, another text from another unknown number. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But please, just give me a chance to explain. Our friendship meant everything to me. Still does. S. Another screenshot. Another block. She tried 4 more numbers that night. Each time with a slightly different message. Each time more desperate. I never meant to hurt you. I was going to tell you. I just didn't know how. I love you, Harper. You're my best friend. Please don't shut me out. I saved every single one and blocked every number. Around midnight, my doorbell rang. I froze. Looked at the security camera feed on my phone. Simone was standing on my porch. My heart started racing. Part of me wanted to open the door, to scream at her, to demand answers. But a bigger part of me knew that's exactly what she wanted. She wanted confrontation. Wanted drama. Wanted a chance to explain or manipulate or somehow make this my fault. I wasn't going to give her that. I stayed perfectly still, watching through the camera as she rang the bell again. Again. Started knocking. Harper, I know you're home. Your car is in the driveway. Please, just talk to me for 5 minutes. I didn't move. Harper, please. I'm begging you. Just let me explain. Silence. She started crying. Or pretending to cry. I couldn't tell anymore. Didn't care.
Nana.
Logan's small voice from the stairs. Who's at the door? I turned off the phone, went to him, scooped him up. Nobody, baby. Just someone who got the wrong house. Let's get you back to bed.
Hey, Manga.
I carried him back upstairs, tucked him in, sang him his favorite song. By the time I came back down, Simone was gone. But there was a note stuck to my door. I grabbed it, brought it inside, read it with shaking hands. Harper, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know you hate me right now. You should. I hate myself too. But please believe me when I say I never wanted this to happen. I never wanted to fall in love with Devin. I fought it for so long. But sometimes things happen that we can't control. I know that sounds like an excuse. Maybe it is. But it's also the truth. You're my best friend. You've been my sister for over a decade. Losing you hurts more than anything I've ever experienced. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I know I don't deserve that. But I'm asking you to understand that this wasn't about hurting you. It was about two people who found something real and didn't know how to walk away from it. Devin loves you. He loves Logan. But he loves me too. And I love him. That doesn't make what we did right, but it makes it real. I hope someday you can find it in your heart to at least talk to me. To let me explain properly. To give our friendship one more chance. I'll wait as long as it takes. Always your friend, Simone. I read it twice. Then I took a photo of it, added it to the evidence folder, and ripped it into tiny pieces. The audacity. The sheer fucking audacity. Two people who found something real. Devin loves you, but he loves me too. Give our friendship one more chance. She really thought she could frame this as some tragic love story. Like she and Devin were star-crossed lovers, and I was just collateral damage. Like their feelings somehow justified destroying my marriage, my family, my trust. I wanted to burn the pieces. Instead, I threw them in the trash and went to pour myself a drink.
My phone rang.
Devin's number. Against my better judgment, I answered. What? Harper, thank God. I've been trying to reach you all day. I've been busy. Meeting with my divorce attorney. Silence. You're really going through with this? Did you think I wouldn't? You fucked my best friend for 1.5 years, Devin. What did you think was going to happen? I thought we could talk about it. Work through it. There's nothing to work through. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. What about Logan? You're going to take him away from his father over this. I'm not taking him anywhere. You're welcome to see him. Under supervision. We'll work out a custody arrangement. Supervision? Harper, I'm his father. You're also a liar and a cheater who's been prioritizing his affair over his family for over 1 year. So yes, supervision. Until I'm sure you're not going to introduce him to your girlfriend. Simone's not he stopped. Not your what? Not your girlfriend? Because those emails sure made it seem like she was a lot more than just a mistress. This isn't fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Was it fair that you took her to a hotel on Valentine's Day while I sat at home? Was it fair that you let her convince you to question whether Logan is even yours? Was it fair that you built a whole secret relationship while I was working my ass off to keep our family afloat? I never questioned whether Logan was mine, but Simone did. And you didn't shut it down. You actually discussed it with her. Like my son's paternity was something to debate with your mistress. Harper, I'm done with this conversation. Talk to your lawyer. Stay away from my house. And if Simone shows up here one more time, I'm filing for a restraining order. I hung up. My hands were shaking again. But this time it wasn't from fear or shock. It was from rage. Pure, clean rage. They'd both been at my house yesterday. Simone on my porch, Devin on the phone. Both of them wanting to talk, to explain, to somehow make me understand. But I didn't want to understand. I wanted them to suffer the way I was suffering. I wanted them to lose everything the way I'd lost everything. And I was going to make sure they did. The next day, my parents arrived. My mother took one look at me and burst into tears. Oh, honey. She pulled me into a hug, and I fell apart. Just completely broke down in her arms like I was 5 years old again. My father, usually stoic and reserved, looked murderous. Where is he? Hotel downtown. I should pay him a visit. No. I'm not going to hit him. I just want to have a conversation. Let the lawyers handle it, my mother said, still holding me. He's not worth the assault charge. Logan was thrilled to see his grandparents. He didn't understand why they were here, why Mama was sad, why Dada wasn't home. He just knew Grandma and Grandpa had come to visit and brought presents. That night, after Logan was asleep, the three of us sat in my living room and I told them everything. Every detail. The earring, the emails, Simone's ultimatum, Devon's confession, all of it. My mother's face got harder with every revelation. By the time I finished, she looked like she could commit murder. Simone, she said quietly. That girl we welcomed into our family. That girl who stood up at your wedding. That girl who held Logan when he was born. I know, Mom. How could she do this? How could anyone be that cruel? I don't know. My father spoke up. What do you need from us? Money? Help with Logan? A place to stay. I need help with Logan while I figure things out. And I need you to not kill Devon when you see him. No promises on that second one, he muttered. Over the next few days, having my parents there helped more than I could have imagined. My mother took over Logan duty, school drop-offs, pickups, meals, bedtime. My father handled household things I'd been neglecting. Fixed the leaky faucet in the guest bathroom. Changed the air filters. Mowed the lawn. It gave me space to breathe. To think.
To plan.
I met with Catherine Wu twice more that week. We finalized the divorce paperwork. Outlined custody arrangements. Calculated child support based on Devon's actual income, which was significantly higher than he'd been contributing to the household. He's been hiding money, Catherine said, showing me the financial discovery her team had done. Moving it into separate accounts, investing under his mother's name. We found about $200,000 that he never disclosed. Can we get that in the settlement? Absolutely. And I'm going to make sure the judge knows he was hiding assets. It won't look good for him. Friday afternoon, Devon was served with divorce papers at his office. I knew because he called me immediately, screaming, "You had me served at work? In front of my colleagues? Are you trying to destroy my career? I'm trying to divorce you. Where you got served isn't my concern. This is vindictive, Harper. You're being vindictive. I'm being vindictive? Devon, you fucked my best friend. For a year and a half. And you're calling me vindictive for filing for divorce. You didn't have to humiliate me publicly. You humiliated yourself. I'm just making it official." He hung up on me.
Good.
Let him be angry. Let him be embarrassed. Let him feel a fraction of what I'd been feeling. That weekend, I did something I'd been putting off. I told my sister Jade everything over video call. She listened to the whole story, her face getting progressively more shocked and angry. "I'm going to kill them both," she said when I finished. "I'm going to fly to Phoenix and murder them. Get in line. Dad's already called dibs. How are you so calm about this?" "I'm not calm.
I'm furious."
But being furious doesn't help. Being strategic does. God, Harper. I'm so sorry. What can I do? Just be there. That's all I need. Always. You know that. After we hung up, I sat down with my laptop and did something I'd been planning for days. I opened Facebook. I'd been off social media for the most part since Logan was born, just occasional posts about his milestones. But I still had about 200 friends. Family, college friends, work colleagues, neighbors. People who knew Devon and Simone. People who thought we were the perfect couple, the perfect family. I started typing. To my friends and family, I'm writing this because I believe in transparency and because people deserve to know the truth. My husband Devon and I are getting divorced. The reason is that he has been having an affair for the past year and a half with my best friend, Simone. I found out last week when I discovered emails between them outlining their relationship and their plans for a future together. Devon has admitted to the affair and has moved out of our family home. I'm sharing this not for sympathy or attention, but because I know many of you care about me and Logan, and I don't want to have to explain this story dozens of times individually. I also don't want anyone to be confused about why Simone is no longer part of our lives. Logan and I are doing okay. We have excellent legal representation and the support of our family. We will get through this. Thank you to everyone who has reached out to check on us. Your support means everything. I ask that you please respect our privacy during this difficult time. I won't be discussing this further on social media. With gratitude, Harper. I read it over 3 times. It was factual, not emotional. It told the truth without being cruel. It protected Logan without hiding what had happened. My finger hovered over the post button. My mother appeared in the doorway. What are you doing? Posting the truth. She came over, read what I'd written. Are you sure? Once you post this, there's no taking it back. I know. Devin's going to be furious. His business reputation. Should have thought of that before he started an affair. She studied my face for a long moment. Then she nodded. Do it. I clicked post. Within 5 minutes, the reaction started.
Shock,
Anger.
support,
Disbelief. My phone started blowing up with texts and calls. I ignored all of them. I just watched the post spread. Watched it get shared. Watched the comments multiply. Oh my God, Harper, I'm so sorry. I can't believe Devin would do this. Simone seemed so sweet. This is shocking. You and Logan are in my prayers. If you need anything, please let me know. Some people defended Devin. Said there were 2 sides to every story. Said I shouldn't air private matters publicly. I blocked those people immediately. About an hour after I posted, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello. What the fuck did you do? Simone's voice, shaking with rage. I told the truth. You just destroyed my reputation.
no, Simone.
You destroyed your reputation when you decided to sleep with your best friend's husband. You had no right to put that online. I had every right. It's my life, my marriage, my truth. Everyone's calling me. My family, my friends, my boss. Do you know what this is doing to my career? Honestly, I don't care. I thought you were better than this. I thought you had class. I laughed. Actually laughed. You thought I had class? That's rich coming from the woman who's been fucking my husband behind my back for 1.5 years. We didn't mean for it to happen. I don't care.
You did it anyway.
You made your choices. Now you get to live with the consequences. Harper, please.
Take down the post.
I'll do anything. There's nothing you can do. It's done. This isn't like you. You're being cruel. You're right. It's not like me. The old Harper would have kept quiet, protected everyone's feelings, suffered in silence. But the old Harper died the night I found those emails. This Harper doesn't give a fuck about protecting people who betrayed her. Devin's life is falling apart because of that post. His clients are calling, asking questions. Good. Let him lose clients. Let him lose everything. That's what happens when you lie and cheat. You're destroying both of our lives over a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk from the store. What you did was a choice. 1,000 choices, made every day for over 1 year. Every time you texted him. Every time you met him at that hotel. Every time you let him lie to me while you smiled in my face. Those weren't mistakes, Simone. That was deliberate betrayal. I loved you. If that's what your love looks like, I'm glad I don't have it anymore. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt powerful.
Strong.
Like I'd taken back control of my own narrative. My phone rang again. Devin this time. Harper, you need to take that post down.
No.
I'm losing clients. Do you understand what you've done?
Yes.
I've told the truth. If that costs you clients, that's your problem. I have a child to support. If you destroy my business, Logan suffers too. You should have thought of that before you started an affair. For God's sake, Harper, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I'm telling people what happened. If you don't like how that makes you look, maybe you shouldn't have done it. I'm going to sue you for defamation. Go ahead. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. And I have emails, texts, bank records, and your own admission. So good luck with that. He was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different.
Cold.
You're going to regret this. Is that a threat? It's a promise. You want to play dirty?
Fine.
But don't cry when I fight back. Bring it on, Devin. I've got nothing left to lose. I hung up and immediately called Catherine Wu. Devin just threatened me, I said. I recorded it. Do you want me to send you the file? Absolutely. Keep recording everything. And Harper? You might want to consider filing for a protective order if he makes any more threats. Will that help with custody? It won't hurt. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept checking my phone, watching the Facebook post continue to spread, watching the comments multiply, watching my truth go viral in a small way. By morning, over 300 people had reacted to it. It had been shared 40 times. The comments were overwhelmingly supportive. I also had 15 friend requests. People I barely knew who apparently wanted a front row seat to the drama. I denied them all. What I cared about wasn't the attention. It was the fact that now everyone knew. Devin couldn't lie about why we were divorcing. Simone couldn't pretend she was innocent. The truth was out there, permanent and public. They'd spent a year and a half hiding. Now they had nowhere to hide. My mother made me breakfast, pancakes, Logan's favorite, and the three of us ate together while my son chattered about dinosaurs and preschool and his upcoming playdate. He had no idea his world had changed. No idea his parents were divorcing. No idea Auntie Simone was gone forever. I'd have to tell him eventually. But not yet. Not until I was stronger. My phone buzzed. A text from Catherine Wu. Devin's attorney reached out. They want to negotiate. Are you interested in mediation? I thought about it. About sitting across a table from Devin, trying to be civil, trying to negotiate the end of our marriage. Part of me wanted to refuse. Wanted to make this as painful as possible for him. But another part, the part that was Logan's mother, knew that a long, drawn-out court battle would hurt my son more than anyone. I texted back. What are the terms? They're proposing 50-50 custody, no child support, and even asset split. I laughed out loud. Tell them absolutely not. I want primary custody, full child support based on his real income, the house, and my fair share of all assets including the ones he hid. If he wants to negotiate, those are my starting terms. Understood. This is going to be a fight. I'm ready. And I was. More ready than I'd ever been for anything in my life. Because I wasn't just fighting for money or property or custody. I was fighting for my dignity, for my truth, for the life I deserved. And I wasn't going to stop until I got it. Devin's fight back came 2 weeks later, and it was worse than I could have imagined. I was at work when Catherine Wu called. Her voice was tight, controlled. Harper, you need to come to my office.
Now.
What happened? Devin's attorney just filed a motion. He's demanding a paternity test for Logan. The floor seemed to drop out from under me. What? He's claiming there's reason to doubt Logan's paternity. He's requesting court-ordered DNA testing. I felt like I couldn't breathe. He can't do that. He knows Logan is his. He was there. He was part of every step of the IVF process. I know.
But he's doing it anyway.
And Harper, there's more. What? He's also filed for full custody. He's claiming you're emotionally unstable, vindictive, and using Logan as a weapon. He's citing the Facebook post as evidence of poor judgment. I sat down in my desk chair before my legs could give out. This is insane. It's a scorched earth strategy. He wants to hurt you any way he can. Can you come in this afternoon? We need to strategize. I barely remember the drive to Catherine's office. My mind was spinning. A paternity test. Devin knew Logan was his. I'd never been with anyone else. Never even looked at another man during our entire relationship. Unless...
No.
No, that was impossible. But the seed of doubt, once planted, started to grow. The IVF clinic. The embryo transfer. What if they'd made a mistake? What if they'd used the wrong sperm sample? I felt sick. Catherine's assistant ushered me into her office immediately. She was already pulling files, making notes.
Sit, she said.
Tell me the truth. Is there any possibility Logan isn't Devin's biological child?
No.
I've never been with anyone else. Never. The only way Logan could not be Devin's is if the fertility clinic made a mistake during IVF. How likely is that? I don't know. It's supposed to be impossible. They have protocols, verification systems. But mistakes happen, right? I read about a case in New York where... Harper, focus. Do you want to fight this? Of course I want to fight it. Logan is my son. Devin was his father. This is just Devin being cruel. Okay. Then here's what we're going to do. We're going to agree to the paternity test.
What? No.
Harper, listen to me. If we fight it, the judge will order it anyway. And fighting it makes you look like you have something to hide. We do the test. It comes back confirming Devin is the father, and his entire strategy collapses. He looks like an asshole, you look like the reasonable parent, and we use this to strengthen your custody case. I took a shaky breath. And if the test comes back saying he's not the father? Is that possible? I don't think so. But what if the IVF clinic made a mistake? What if they used the wrong sample? What if? Then we deal with it. But Harper, that's incredibly unlikely. The odds of a mistake like that are astronomical. But not zero. Not zero, she admitted. But close enough. I think we should take the test and use the results to destroy Devin's credibility. I nodded slowly. Okay. Set it up. That night, I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Just kept staring at Logan's sleeping face, trying to see Devin and his features. He had Devin's eyes. Didn't he? That same warm brown color. But he had my nose. My smile. My stubborn chin. Who did he really look like? I'd never questioned it before. Never had reason to. But now, with Devin's accusation hanging over everything, I couldn't stop analyzing every feature. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I heard about the paternity test. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. If I hadn't pushed him to question it, he never would have done this. Please forgive me. S. I stared at the message. Simone. Still trying to contact me. Still trying to insert herself into my life. But this time, her message made something click into place. If I hadn't pushed him to question it. Simone had pushed Devin to doubt Logan's paternity. Why? What did she have to gain? Unless she knew something. No. That was paranoid thinking. She couldn't possibly know anything. Could she? I called Catherine Wu at home, not caring that it was past 10. I need the fertility clinic records, I said when she answered. All of them. From the entire IVF process. Harper, what's going on? I need to know if they made a mistake. I need to know before we do this paternity test. There was a pause. I'll get them. Give me a few days. The paternity test was scheduled for the following Wednesday. Devin and I both had to bring Logan to a medical lab where they'd swab all 3 of our cheeks and send the samples for analysis. My parents offered to come with me. I told them no. I needed to do this alone. I arrived at the lab at exactly 9 a.m. Devin was already there, sitting in the waiting room with his lawyer. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, rumpled suit, like he hadn't slept in days. Good. Logan was excited to see his dad. He ran to Devin immediately, throwing his little arms around his legs. Dad. I missed you. Devin's face crumpled. He picked Logan up, held him tight. I missed you too, buddy. So much. For a moment, just a moment, I felt sorry for him. Whatever else he was, he did love Logan. I could see it in the way he held our son, the way his whole body seemed to relax when Logan hugged him back. But then I remembered the emails, the hotel rooms, the lies, and the sympathy vanished. The test itself took less than 5 minutes. A technician swabbed the inside of Logan's cheek, then mine, then Devin's. Logan thought it was a game, opening his mouth wide and saying, "Aw," like he was at the doctor's office. Results in 3 to 5 business days, the technician said, sealing the samples in individual containers. Devin tried to talk to me as we left. Harper, can we? No. I picked up Logan and walked past him without looking back. Mama, why is Dada sad? Logan asked in the car. Dada's just having a hard time right now, baby. Can he come home? My heart broke a little. Not right now. Why not? It's complicated, sweetheart. I want Dada to come home. I pulled over, unable to drive with tears blurring my vision. I know, baby. I know you do. Logan started crying too, because he was 3 and he didn't understand why his world had changed, why Dada wasn't home anymore, why everything felt wrong. I held him in the parking lot of a random grocery store, both of us crying, and I hated Devin more than I'd ever hated anyone in my life. 3 days later, Catherine called. I have the fertility clinic records. My stomach dropped. And there's a notation here that's concerning. During your embryo transfer, there was a situation. What kind of situation? The clinic had multiple couples undergoing procedures that same week. Your embryos were stored in the same lab as 2 other couples' embryos. According to the notes, there was a brief power outage that disrupted the labeling system. They had to manually re-verify everything. Oh, God. They document that they checked and rechecked everything, that they were certain they had the right embryos for the right patients. But Harper, there's a handwritten note in the margin. It says, double-checked Sinclair embryos, verified husband sample, proceeded with transfer. What does that mean? I think it means there was doubt. Enough doubt that someone felt the need to make a note about double-checking, which suggests there might have been room for error. I felt like the floor was falling away. So it's possible. It's actually possible that they used the wrong sperm sample. I don't want to speculate, but yes, it appears there was some confusion during your cycle. Now, that doesn't mean a mistake was made. It just means there was a situation that required extra verification. What do? We wait for the paternity test results. And Harper, prepare yourself for any outcome. I spent the next 2 days in a fog, going through the motions of work, of parenting, of existing. My parents knew something was wrong, but I couldn't tell them. Couldn't say the words out loud. What if Logan wasn't Devon's? What if my son, my beautiful perfect son, was the product of some random stranger's sperm because a fertility clinic made a catastrophic error? What would that mean for custody? For child support? For everything? On Friday afternoon, Catherine called. The results are in. I couldn't speak.
Couldn't breathe.
Harper, are you there? Yes, I whispered. The test confirms that Devon is not Logan's biological father. The world stopped. What? The paternity test came back negative. There is zero genetic match between Devon and Logan, which means either you were unfaithful, which I know you weren't, or the IVF clinic made a mistake. I started laughing. Hysterical, unhinged laughter that turned into sobs. Harper, I need you to focus. This changes everything. Devon is going to use this. He's going to say he owes you nothing. No child support, no custody obligations, nothing. He's not Logan's father, I said, and it still didn't feel real.
Biologically, no.
But legally, it's more complicated. He signed the birth certificate. He's been acting as Logan's father for 3 years. Under Arizona law, there's a doctrine called paternity by estoppel, which means, I don't care about the law right now, I shouted. My son's father is a stranger. Some random man who donated sperm. Logan's entire genetic identity is based on a mistake. I know this is devastating. But we need to think strategically. Devon's lawyer is going to argue that he has no obligation to Logan now. We need to counter that immediately.
How?
We sue the fertility clinic. We argue that Devon accepted parental responsibility for 3 years. We fight for Logan's rights, not just yours. I hung up and called my mother. Mom, I said, and my voice broke. I need you. She was at my house in 20 minutes. I told her everything. The test results, the fertility clinic records, the possibility that Logan's biological father was a complete stranger. She went pale. Oh, Harper. Oh, sweetheart. What am I going to tell Logan? How do I explain this to him? You don't.
Not yet.
He's 3 years old. He doesn't need to know yet. But Devon has been Logan's father for 3 years. Biology doesn't change that. Legally, it does. Catherine says he could walk away. No child support, no custody, nothing. My mother's face hardened. Over my dead body. That man doesn't get to play daddy for 3 years and then abandon his son the moment it's convenient. 2 days later, I got the call I'd been dreading. Devon's lawyer had filed a motion to dismiss all child support obligations and terminate Devon's parental rights. He was walking away. Catherine scheduled an emergency hearing. We stood before a judge, Devon and his lawyer on one side, me and Catherine on the other. Devon wouldn't look at me, just stared straight ahead, jaw clenched. His lawyer argued that Devon had been deceived, that he'd entered into fatherhood under false pretenses, that the paternity test proved he had no biological obligation to Logan. Catherine argued that Devon had willingly acted as Logan's father for 3 years, that he'd signed the birth certificate, that he'd formed a legal and emotional bond with the child, and that Logan's best interests had to be considered. The judge listened to both sides, then turned to Devon. Mr. Sinclair, you're asking this court to terminate your parental rights and obligations to a child you've raised for 3 years. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. And you understand that this means you would have no legal relationship with this child? No visitation rights, no say in his upbringing, nothing. I understand.
Why?
Why would you want to abandon a child you've been raising as your own? Devin finally looked at me. His eyes were hard, cold. Because he's not mine. I was lied to, manipulated. I deserve to be free of this burden. Burden. He'd called Logan a burden. I wanted to scream. To throw something. To hurt him the way he was hurting me, hurting Logan. But I just sat there, hands clenched in my lap, and let Catherine do her job. Your Honor, she said calmly, Mr. Sinclair is conveniently forgetting that he demanded this paternity test. He weaponized it against my client, hoping to use doubt about Logan's paternity to gain advantage in custody negotiations. He can't now claim he's shocked by the results he himself insisted on discovering. The judge nodded slowly. Counselor, that's an excellent point. Mr. Sinclair, you open this particular Pandora's box. You don't get to close it just because you don't like what flew out. Devin's lawyer tried to argue, but the judge cut him off. I'm not terminating parental rights today. This child has known Mr. Sinclair as his father for 3 years. Regardless of biology, that relationship exists and deserves protection. We'll schedule a full hearing to determine what's in the child's best interest. Until then, the current custody arrangement stands, and Mr. Sinclair will continue to pay child support. Devin looked like he'd been slapped. As we left the courthouse, he grabbed my arm. This isn't over. I yanked away from him. You're right. It's not. Because I'm going to make sure everyone knows what kind of man you are. The kind who abandons a child the moment it's inconvenient. That child isn't mine. He's been yours for 3 years. You held him when he was born. You taught him to walk. You read him bedtime stories. And now you want to pretend none of that mattered because of a DNA test. I was deceived. We were both deceived. The clinic made a mistake. But the difference between us is that I still love Logan with every fiber of my being, and you're treating him like a bad investment. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. That little boy loves you. He asks for you every single day. He doesn't understand why Dada isn't coming home. And you want to just erase him from your life like he never existed. Devin's face was red. I need to move on. You need to grow up and take responsibility for your choices. You chose to be his father. You chose to raise him. You don't get to unchose that now. I walked away before I could say something I'd regret, or before I could hit him, which was becoming increasingly tempting. That night, I did something I'd been avoiding. I contacted the fertility clinic. I wanted answers. Needed to understand how this had happened. The clinic's lawyer called me back within hours. They were terrified of a lawsuit, which they should have been. Mrs. Sinclair, we're conducting a full investigation into what happened during your treatment cycle. We've reviewed all the records. I don't want your investigation. I want to know who Logan's biological father is. We can't disclose that information due to privacy laws. Find a way. Because if you don't, I'm going to sue you for every penny you have. They called back 2 days later. We've located the donor whose sample was used for your embryo transfer. He's been contacted and has agreed to speak with you if you wish. My heart was pounding.
Yes.
I want to meet him. His name was Marcus. Marcus Chun. He was 38, a software engineer, married with 2 kids of his own. He and his wife had used the same fertility clinic for their second child. We met at a coffee shop in Scottsdale. I brought photos of Logan. He brought photos of his kids. The resemblance was undeniable. Logan had Marcus's smile, his laugh, even some of his mannerisms, which seemed impossible, but was right there in the photos. I can't believe this happened, Marcus said quietly. When the clinic called, I thought it was a scam. I know. I'm still trying to process it. My wife and we talked about it. About what this means. Logan is biologically my son, but I'm not his father. You know.
Yeah.
I know. We don't want to disrupt his life. We're not looking for custody or anything like that. But if you think it would be good for Logan, we'd like to be part of his life. Not as parents. Maybe as extended family? Friends. I looked at this stranger who is genetically my son's father and felt overwhelmed by the complexity of it all. I need time, I said. This is all too much right now. Of course. Take all the time you need. But Harper? For what it's worth, Logan is lucky to have you as a mother. That much is obvious. I cried the whole way home. The next few months were a blur of legal proceedings, therapy sessions, and trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy for Logan. The custody hearing was brutal. Devin's lawyer painted me as unstable, vindictive, a woman who tried to trap his client with another man's child. Catherine systematically destroyed every argument. Showed the timeline of when I would have needed to cheat for Logan to not be Devin's, which didn't align with anything. Presented the fertility clinic's admission of error. Highlighted Devin's own emails about loving Logan, being his father, wanting a future with him. In the end, the judge ruled that while Devin was not Logan's biological father, he had established a legal parent-child relationship through his actions over 3 years. He could choose to terminate his rights, but only if he paid a substantial settlement to cover Logan's care until adulthood. Devin refused, said he'd rather maintain minimal custody and pay child support than give me a lump sum. So we ended up with a custody arrangement, me with primary custody, Devin with supervised visitation every other weekend. It was over, but it didn't feel like victory. It just felt like loss. The lawsuit against the fertility clinic took 2 years to settle. They paid a substantial amount that I put in trust for Logan's future. It wouldn't undo the mistake, but it would give him security. Devin and I barely spoke. He saw Logan every other weekend, but the visits were tense, awkward. Logan started asking why Dada seemed different, why things felt wrong. I didn't know how to explain it to him. How do you tell a 5-year-old that the man he calls Dada found out they don't share DNA and changed, fundamentally, in how he related to him? Simone tried to contact me one more time, about 6 months after everything fell apart. She sent a letter to my house. I burned it without reading it. I didn't care what she had to say. Didn't care about her excuses or explanations or apologies. She was dead to me, and that was exactly how I wanted it. 2 years after the divorce was finalized, I was finally ready to breathe again. Logan was 5, thriving in kindergarten, funny and smart and resilient in ways that amazed me. He'd adapted to the new normal, accepted that Dada lived somewhere else, stopped asking when he was coming home. My career had taken off. I'd been promoted to lead architect at Morrison and Associates. The community center I designed had won awards, led to more commissions. I was building the life I dreamed about before Devin, before marriage, before everything. I'd started dating again. Nothing serious, just casual coffee dates and dinners. Testing the waters of trusting someone new. And I'd made a decision about Marcus. I invited him and his family to Logan's 5th birthday party. Introduced him as a friend, someone who'd helped me through a difficult time. Logan loved them. Loved Marcus's kids, who were 7 and 9, and thought Logan was adorable. They played together in the backyard while Marcus and his wife, Jennifer, helped me set up party games. "Thank you for this," Marcus said quietly. "For including us. He should know his siblings," I said.
Not now.
Not for a while. But someday, when he's old enough to understand, he should know. We'll follow your lead, whatever you think is best. I watched Logan play with his biological half-siblings, watched him laugh and run, and just be a kid, and I felt something loosen in my chest. Something that had been tight for years. This was my life now. Complicated, messy, not at all what I'd planned, but mine. Fully, completely mine. I was enough. Logan was enough. We were going to be okay. 3 years post-divorce, I was sitting in my home office working on a design proposal when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Hello, Harper? It's Simone." I should have hung up. Should have blocked the number and moved on. But I didn't. "What do you want?" "I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. I know I have no right to call you. But I needed you to know something. I don't care. Devin and I aren't together anymore. We never really were. After everything happened, after the truth came out, it all fell apart. He blamed me for the paternity test. I blamed him for not fighting harder for Logan. We destroyed each other. I was quiet processing this. He lost most of his clients," she continued. "His business never recovered from the scandal. Last I heard, he'd moved to California, started over. We haven't spoken in over a year. Why are you telling me this? Because I wanted you to know that there were consequences. That we didn't just ride off into the sunset while you suffered. We both lost everything too. Good.
Yeah. Good. She paused.
I also wanted to say I'm sorry. I know it means nothing now. I know it doesn't fix anything. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. What I did was unforgivable. You deserved so much better. From both of us.
Yes.
I did. Are you happy? You and Logan. Why do you care? Because despite everything, I did love you. You were my best friend. And I destroyed that. I just want to know you're okay. I looked out my office window. Saw Logan in the backyard with my parents, who were visiting for the week. Saw my beautiful home. My successful career. My hard-won peace. I'm more than okay, I said. I'm happy. Really, genuinely happy. It took a long time. But I got there.
I'm glad.
Her voice cracked. I really am glad. Simone? Don't call again. This is closure for both of us, but this is also goodbye. I understand. I hung up and blocked the number. Then I went outside to play with my son. 5 years after my marriage ended, I stood in my kitchen making dinner when Logan, now 8, came running in from school. Mom. Guess what? What, baby? I got picked for the advanced math program. Mrs. Henderson says I'm really smart. I hug him tight. That's because you are really smart. I'm so proud of you. Can we celebrate? Can we get ice cream? Absolutely. Go do your homework first, then we'll go. He ran off to his room, and I heard him video calling his dad. Devin and Logan had found their rhythm over the years. It wasn't perfect, but it was functional. Devin had done therapy, worked through his issues, learned to separate his anger at the situation from his relationship with Logan. They'd never be as close as they were before the paternity test. That innocence was gone. But they had something. And for Logan's sake, I was grateful. My phone buzzed. A text from James, the man I'd been dating for 6 months. The first relationship that felt real since Devin. Dinner tomorrow night? I'm thinking that Italian place you love. I smiled and typed back. Perfect. Can't wait. Life was good. Not perfect. I still had hard days. Still mourned the family I'd thought I was building. Still dealt with the complexity of Logan's unique situation. But I'd built something new from the ashes of my old life. Something stronger. Something mine. I'd learned that I didn't need a perfect husband or a perfect marriage to be happy. I didn't need everything to go according to plan. I just needed to know my own worth, to refuse to accept less than I deserved, to fight for myself and my son with everything I had. The earring that started this all, that tiny piece of silver jewelry, was long gone. Thrown away or lost, I couldn't remember. But what it revealed, what it set in motion, had changed everything. I found out my husband was cheating with my best friend. I found out my son wasn't biologically his. I found out that the life I'd built was based on lies and mistakes and betrayals. And I survived it all. More than survived.
I thrived.
Because that's what we do. We women who've been betrayed, who've been lied to, who've had our world shattered. We pick up the pieces. We build something new. We become stronger than we ever were before. And we teach our children by example that you can come through the fire and emerge not just intact, but radiant. That night, after Logan was asleep, I sat on my back porch with a glass of wine and looked at the stars. And I thanked that earring, that tiny silver earring that I'd found in Devin's car, because it had destroyed my life. And in doing so, it had given me the chance to build a better one. If you've made it this far in my story, thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about what happened to me and Logan. Life is messy and complicated and rarely works out the way we plan. But it works out. One way or another, it works out. I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're going through, you remember that you're stronger than you think. That you deserve honesty and loyalty and love. And that if someone can't give you those things, you have every right to walk away and build something better. Take care of yourselves. And remember, you are enough. You always were. With love and hope for your journey.